City number 45 on the 100 city tour. At least that's what the website says. So my name is Emmanuel Remy, and I'm proud to serve as a council member here in the city of Columbus, but also excited to serve on the National League of Cities Board of Directors. Thank you. This tour highlights the importance of this organization in advocating for our cities, towns, and villages across America, making sure municipal governments remain strong in their ability to serve their residents. I want to take a moment to introduce the folks that rode in on the bus today as they embark across this great country. We're happy to welcome Robert Blaine, a senior executive with National League of Cities, Katie Colton, the program director for the Midwest region, Seth Barlow, the communications manager, Irma Diggs, our senior executive of federal advocacy, and Kyle Funk, the senior program specialist of infrastructure transportation services. If you could give them a warm welcome, we appreciate it. I'd also like to thank our host venue today, the Center of Science and Industry. This is consistently named one of the top science museums in the United States. And so Dr. Frederick Bertley couldn't be here today. We're thankful to have Chad back there, the VP of Operations, the Chief Operating Officer, and his team. And thank you for opening up your space to allow us to have this event. We thought yesterday this might not be a good day for us to be outside, and it held true. So I also have the honor of recognizing our elected officials that are here today, and special guests that are in the room. So I want to start with, Ohio's had 5 presidents of the National League of Cities. And soon to be 6. The mayor, Steve Patterson, the mayor of Athens, is going to be president in 26, but we've been fortunate to have 2 right here in the city of Columbus, and that was Mayor Tom Moody in 1978, and of course Greg Lashutka, who's here today, that will be speaking a little bit later. Columbus's history runs deep with the National League of Cities. We bring quite a delegation when it's time to come to the conferences each and every year, but I want to recognize my former colleague, Councilmember Priscilla Tyson. She was an integral part of National League of Cities for so many years, and the president of NBC Leo, the National Black Caucus local elected officials. We're so proud that you had the opportunity to lead that, and I know that you were also part of the executive committee as a board member, and certainly you chaired the advisory committee for former board members, and so we want to thank you for that relationship. And I know when I first started and I showed up and started going to these things in LA in 2018 actually, there was no doubt about whose relationships were stronger at National League of Cities, because everybody revolved around and came to Priscilla to talk. So we appreciate your service doing that. Thank you. It's also a pleasure to have a mayor of the city of Columbus here today, have our mayor, who certainly recognizes the importance of the National League of Cities. Mayor Ginther is serving in his 9th year as mayor and is the incoming president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So thank you, Mayor, for being here today. I'd like to recognize my colleagues, Councilmember Nick Bankston, and a very newcomer that I'm sure will be coming to some of these conferences, Councilmember Nancy Day-Ackauer. We appreciate you stopping by and supporting the organization. President Hardin wishes he could be here, but of course he's been doing other NLCs at a capstone project in Philadelphia, and he'll be heading back soon, but we appreciate, he certainly sends his regards, as you know, or he was with you just yesterday. So it's great to see Kent Scarrett here as well, the Executive Director of the Ohio Municipal League. Thank you for being here today. I think that's just about everybody. It's a great honor to serve as a council member in the city of Columbus. It's the fastest growing city in the U.S. As you can see, our commitment to NLC runs deep. And 100 years ago, NLC was formed as a commitment to share an advocacy for villages, towns, and cities across America. It's an opportunity to share ideas, raise concerns, and find solutions collectively, which has been very valuable to me as a legislator here in the city of Columbus. As I said, Columbus comes strong to NLC events, and we've had many opportunities to recognize, to work together to find solutions for our growth as one of the fastest growing cities in America. With that, comes many challenges. As great as the opportunities are, we have challenges with the growth that we have. And so ideas from within are not necessarily enough to successfully solve those problems and challenges. So the sharing of ideas and dialogue amongst NLC members is of paramount importance. And as you'll hear later in the program, we are committed to housing affordability in this city. In this city, to help ensure our residents will be able to live where they work. Columbus has also been underbuilding for decades. And one of those reasons is we live under a 70-year, we operate under a 70-year zoning code that is not reflective of today's growth and needs. The mayor and this council have embarked on a Zone In initiative that not only will change the zoning code, but will help to promote affordability in every project in major corridors in this city. This effort is complemented by our Link Us initiative, which will provide bus rapid transit to those major corridors, so our residents will have the ability to move around our city in an efficient, low-cost way. Smart growth is our #1 objective as we build out this region, projects around this region. NLC has been a great partner to help us shape how we grow. Through collaboration, we have brought many opportunities back to the city of Columbus, and we are proud to have contributed to the success of NLC in the past 100 years. We certainly look forward to the next 100 years to come. So as I mentioned, it's a great honor to have Mayor Ginther here as he takes over the role of U.S. Conference of Mayors next month, President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. The U.S. Conference of Mayors plays a pivotal role in shaping our future as well, and we are excited to have our mayor lead that organization this next year. So it's my honor to recognize and welcome Mayor Andrew J. Ginther.
Good afternoon. What a great afternoon here in the city of Columbus. I think the sun is shining out there somewhere beneath those clouds, but it's great to be with you, and I want to welcome our partners and friends at the National League of Cities. If Clarence were here, I'd tease him that he's my favorite CEO in Washington, D.C., but don't tell President Biden or Tom Cochran. That get me in a lot of trouble. We don't need any more jealousy out there in the world. Excited to join you today to welcome the National League of Cities to Columbus and to help celebrate 100 years of excellence and impact in communities across the country. To the National League of Cities, to former Mayor Lashutka, Council members Remy, Dayakauer, and Bankston, we are grateful for your continued leadership of the NLC. And none of us would be here today without former council member Priscilla Tyson, who served, I think, in every role, in every capacity that Clarence and the NLC staff could put her into, an incredible leader who continues to provide so much to our community. We know through advocacy, collaboration, and leading edge expertise, the National League of Cities has been a vital partner in promoting continuous improvement, strengthening our collective impact in the work we do for the people we serve. The resources and forums you provide are instrumental in helping local communities achieve our goals and aspirations. You help us to grow our economies and unlock creativity and entrepreneurship. You guide us in our efforts to encourage innovation, spark meaningful breakthroughs, and deliver a broad range of programs and services that improve quality of life. Simply put, you enable communities to become better, stronger, and more effective across the board. At the same time, the National League of Cities has been a leader in expanding inclusive governance. You've been a steadfast voice in championing the importance of policies and programs that both invite and elevate new voices, new perspectives into the national dialogue. Doing so teaches us important lessons about ourselves and the communities we represent, the people that we work for. On top of that, it's the right thing to do. Columbus, by every measure, is a city on the rise, by every conceivable measure. We're setting records for investment, job creation, and population growth. We've seen our national profile ascend in stature and esteem. We're leading the nation as a destination where families and young people want to live and put down roots. We are a city that is focused on the future. Columbus and Fort Worth are leading the nation in reduction in violent crime and homicides to date this year. Incredible amounts of work that we've made into our comprehensive approach: prevention, intervention, and enforcement. Our guiding light is neighborhood safety, making sure that everybody in every part of our city feels safe. We also realize that growth doesn't come without its fair share of challenges. It requires that we be purposeful and intentional in all that we do, so that we may continue to grow in an inclusive and dynamic fashion without repeating the mistakes and pitfalls of the past. We know that in order for us to grow more in the next 2 decades than we have arguably in the last 50, we're going to have to do things differently. We're on an incredible trajectory, but it isn't enough to grow for the sake of the growth. We don't want to just be bigger, we want to be better. We must also grow the right way by managing a tremendous amount of change in a relatively short period of time. Everything we do in Columbus is through the lens of equity, making sure that those who have been left out and left behind are top of mind as we move this city forward. That is because we believe our people are our greatest strength, and our policies and solutions must reflect that. We always reject false choices in Columbus. We think we can both protect our environment and grow our economy at the same time. We believe we can support the police and reform the division at the same time. We believe that we can continue to focus on young people in ways that we can invest in their future through the leadership of President Hardin and Council through the Columbus Promise. We believe we can do both. We can become the most pro-growth community in the country while fostering prosperity and upward mobility in every neighborhood across Columbus. All of these great issues of the day, from safety to housing to transit, require that we move with a sense of urgency and in lockstep with the best and brightest in the field. We believe the next 10 years will be some of the most consequential for this city in the century ahead. Do we have the courage and the willingness to make tough decisions, to update a zoning code for the first time in 70 years, to pass an issue on the ballot this fall, Link Us, that will help us transform transit in our community? Will we continue to invest in prevention, intervention, and enforcement to make every community safe? We learn by doing, but we also learn by listening, collaborating, and sharing and planning with titans of industry, leaders of good governance, just like the National League of Cities. Thank you for being diligent, committed partners in this work, for helping cities like Columbus achieve our highest potential. We're grateful for the impact you've had on our city over the last century. Let's make the next 100 years even better. Together, I'm confident we'll continue to move the needle of progress and innovation and build a brighter future for all of our communities. It's now my honor to introduce former mayor of this great city and the national president of the National League of Cities, 1996. Please welcome former Mayor Greg Lashutka.
Mayor Ginther, thank you so much. Congratulations on your incoming mantle of a responsibility with those big city mayors. The U.S. Conference plays a key role, and it's a very interesting club. I was part of all that. They too serve a key role in helping shape the interest of cities, although I'm a little partial to the National League of Cities, and I just want to brag about that a little bit. Obviously, the mayor has chatted substantially about where Columbus is and where it's going, and we'll see and hope that that is indeed the vision that he has gets adopted in large part. When I was city attorney, Tom Moody, who was then mayor, invited me to my first National League of Cities meeting. And I was awestruck. There was Tom Bradley. There was Mayor Daley, big city mayors in their own right. But there were council members. There were city attorneys. There were auditors. There were department heads all learning lessons from people around the country. And they may or may not have made sense for Columbus. That wasn't important. They were relationships that you could benchmark what we were doing here against the best of class. And I want to welcome our National League of Cities contingent. Please give former Mayor Clarence Anthony my very best. He was a character then, and he continues to be a character. But more importantly, he's a great leader. And I was learning, he is testifying very shortly before the U.S. Congress on housing. As Mayor Ginther talked about housing needs, you know, we're seeing this in virtually every city. If you don't have the adequate ability to take care of everybody, to provide shelter, which is the key for all families, not just those with wealth, but those who are serving us, running cameras, working here at COSI, working in our neighborhoods. Now, we are here because of the people that we represent. And then there was George Voinovich, who was also president. My hometown is Cleveland, so I had a little partiality to what was going on in Cleveland, which went through a rough patch. And George, learning lessons from the National League of Cities, helped pull it along and create issues like shared revenue, that was called revenue sharing in those days between the federal government and local. That may be something worthwhile to think about now, since there are needs. But my hunch is, with the federal debt where it is, that's highly unlikely. But ideas deserve to be discussed. And I've been in many rooms, as has been the case with Priscilla Tyson, where vigorous discussion, not with political taint, but what is the right thing to do, often comes forward, and that's in the halls and rooms where the National League of Cities meets. I am honored to be on the 100th anniversary committee. So when Councilman Ramey invited me to come today, I was most appreciative. That reflected the spirit of looking at the tradition. This tour, which is not just a bus, it symbolizes a success story of an organization that allows for innovation, a respect for what governance, selfless service is truly what that bus represents. And all through the year leading up to this fall, that bus will be touring America. I know that Kent is here, and I was under the misimpression we had state league directors in all 50 states. I was corrected. Hawaii only has one city, so they don't have a state league director. But there are 49, and those 49 league directors are part of what is special about the National League of Cities. And they conduct their own activities intramurally, because even though Columbus is a regional leader, and big city mayors do that, but there's also a sensitivity what's going on in neighboring cities and villages. And that's what the National League of Cities brings to the table, is a voice for all those people to be heard. So I congratulate Kent on his leadership with the Ohio Municipal League, and as we reflect, and I see Priscilla nodding, you'll learn some interesting stories. The friendships I have had include people as diverse as Dennis Archer in Detroit, a difficult city, still trying to catch up to its glory days. And they're being partially successful. But we're a latecomer when you consider Cleveland and Cincinnati. But as a kid, we've grown up. As we look out the window, it's not just the physical buildings, it's a lot of things that have taken place to give us a character, a tradition that's the envy of people not only in this country, but also across the world. So as we think about what is taking place, I want to congratulate the National League of Cities for all you have done to keep growing and changing. Clarence brought a different way to lead and different issues than Don Board, who preceded him. Don's was our NLC director, and I won't bore you with all the things that come to mind from the spirited discussion at executive committee meetings, board of directors. But I will conclude on one thing. The president of the National League of Cities has a chance to set the tone with a topic of choice for all of NLC. And that's a tradition that is rich because it then goes into different committees and all. I was fortunate because, just like today, we have an education challenge, not just K through 12, but for all sorts. And my topic was lifelong learning. Not very fashionable then, but I must say I couldn't take credit for it, and I didn't. Tom Moody planted that seed in a very indirect way, and it is important because as this world shrinks and we are competing not just domestically but internationally, we have to have the best and brightest being able to provide awesome abilities, bring good character, be able to be the best of the entire world, and that's our goal. So on that note, let me again say thank you for the invitation to come. I appreciate what the National League of Cities did. One of my best memories is serving as president. Let me tell you, I was exhausted in San Antonio as I hung up my spurs, but I made my way to a little jazz bar, and who was there? A little group, two of which were from Columbus, Ohio. I didn't say anything for 2 hours rather, as our little mayor's contingent unwound and sunsetted my time period there. But you keep bringing in new leadership. You've got it with Councilmember Ramey carrying on the tradition of Priscilla and all the others who join you. Job well done. Keep up the travels. Be safe, and welcome to Columbus.
Thank you, Mayor and Mayor Ginther. And now it's clearing up, but we decided, we made the call yesterday with the rain forecast that it'd be best to do a presentation. So it's my honor to ask I'm CEO of Downtown Columbus, Greg Davies, and the Director of Development for the City of Columbus, to give a presentation about what's going on and how we're growing. And so I will call them up to do that now.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Stevens, Director of Development for the City of Columbus. I too want to extend a warm welcome to the National League of Cities. I know my time will be short because I'm between you and Greg Davies, which is an important part of the presentation. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Councilmember Ramey and his team for the work they've done to put this event together today. This is an important tour, and having you stop in Columbus is really important. So thank you. I have the best job at the City of Columbus. I work for a mayor and a city council that is willing to make the hard choices and take the tough votes to move forward those initiatives that are important for all our residents. The housing system in our country is broken right now. And what we're doing in Columbus to try to take something that's dysfunctional and make it functional is a challenge. But council and the mayor have led on this. We have made sure we've put in place incentives that reduce the cost burden on building new housing and getting more units developed. We are working on an affordable housing strategy to build more units, to invest in new projects that the market won't invest in. We want to preserve existing housing, and we also want to make sure that we have housing available for all our residents. But the housing strategy alone is not going to do it. Our residents have voted for $250 million in affordable housing bonds to invest in projects to provide housing for those individuals making anywhere from $25,000 to $70,000 a year. We are currently going through a process of updating our zoning code. Our current zoning code, if nothing changes, would allow about 6,000 new units to be built in the City of Columbus. The code that is being proposed, and our council is taking our community through an engagement process, is going to result in 88,000 new units that can be built. A significant change and really making a mark on the 200,000 new units we need in the next 10 years. And then finally, I would just want to wrap up by saying, you're doing 100 cities. You could make 100 site visits across Columbus on this bus trip and see all the amazing things that's happened. But I'm proud that we're going to focus today on what's happening in downtown Columbus. And having Greg Davies as the president and CEO of the Downtown Columbus Incorporated, a man who's led our utilities department in the city of Columbus, who led the mayor's office in the mayor's first term, a colleague of mine at the Department of Development, knows what this community needs so downtown truly is everybody's neighborhood. So I'd like to introduce Greg so he can walk through the downtown presentation.
I have to take the director with me everywhere I go. That was such a nice introduction. Well, welcome to Columbus. I've just got a few slides, and I think why the director said it was so important that I was next is because after this we are going to go over to the Junto, and I don't know if you're staying at the Junto while you're in Columbus, but it's a new hotel that's part of the area that you're in, which is the Peninsula, and there's a beautiful rooftop bar, and I'm glad to see the weather's getting nice now. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to show you when we're over there, if anyone's interested, you can stand up on top of the rooftop bar, look out, and really see what we see, which is a great, bright future for the city. So, all right. This usually happens to me when I try to do techno. This way? All right. Oh, got it. Okay, we good? Yep, so there's the map. So a lot of people think of downtown historically as kind of the entertainment district, but for Columbus and for what we're talking about, and obviously having the development director here, it's only 1% of the city's landmass, but 16% of the jobs are located downtown Columbus. $3.8 billion in public-private investment since 2013, and the most important thing being a state with income taxes so vital is 90 cents of every dollar collected actually goes back out to the neighborhoods. So when we talk about downtown, it's crucial to not just Columbus, but the entire region. And so, that's a great slide for us to focus on. We have worked really hard with Mayor Ginther and City Council. I came into this role 3 years ago, and downtown was historically, it was always meant to be for everyone, but a lot of the condos and stuff that were built early were more high end, and I think there was a recognition that we really needed to focus down and make sure that we could do things and provide places to live and places to do things for everybody in our community. And so we've really, the last 3 years, with the support of the city, done quite a few cool things. And one of them, across the way, and you can see from up top, we have a fountain that was built maybe 15 years ago that was a huge draw for the city, and we are reopening that actually in a week and a half. Super excited. It's going to be a brand new upgrade. As former Rec and Parks Chair, you're very familiar with that, so really excited about that. Our long-term goal, we have a strategic plan that we put in place 2 years ago. We want 40,000 residents by 2040. We currently have roughly 13,000. In the year 2000, we had 3,000. And so, Columbus just kind of went away from downtown. I think there's a move to come back. 120,000 employees and 10 million visitors. And Dan Williams is with Experience Columbus, which is our travel bureau, and he is here to talk to you about all the great things that you could experience in Columbus. Downtown today, I won't go through all that, but that's just kind of where we're at in terms of what we're at. What I really want to talk to you about is the Peninsula, and there's 3 projects I want to talk about. So this was all outside of COSI. This was all just vacant lots, and the city owned it, and under Mayor Coleman, he wanted to turn it over to our organization and let us develop it. So in consultation with city leaders, we created phase 1 of the Peninsula, which opened maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. So there's 231,000 square feet of office, which is right next to the hotel that we're going to go visit after this, 329 apartments, and the hotel, which houses the place that will be in the reception, is 200 rooms. The city built a 1,400 space parking garage, which was instrumental, as you can imagine. Trying to park downtown is a challenge. It could be expensive and detrimental to development, so the city's been a huge partner. Phase 2, which we're getting ready to announce anytime now, trying to finalize the leases, 300 more apartments, 400 more parking spaces. We're actually going to get a 35,000 square foot grocer downtown, which will be huge, another hotel, and a 40,000 square foot Pins Mechanical, which, if you're not familiar with, is just a giant entertainment thing with duck pin bowling. So in terms of safety, I think every city struggles with at least the perception of safety. As Mayor Ginther indicated, I think things are good. Things downtown are always good in terms of it's a lot of property crime, and especially after after COVID, we had some issues with that, with less people being downtown. But what we're doing, we've worked with the Columbus Partnership, which represents a lot of our business community, and working with the city, we've come together to create a new safety plan. And as part of that plan, a lot of the private sector has cameras and private security. So we are going to buy cameras. We are going to have our own monitoring station in conjunction with the police and the private sector. And if you're familiar with what Detroit's done in terms of their project up there, where they've really made downtown more accessible, more friendly, Dan Gilbert's done a lot of that. We actually hired the person that helped Dan Gilbert do that safety plan, and he is working with us in our safety department and all of our partners to do that. So we're very excited about that, and we are actually going to house a new command center where if some crime or something happens downtown, we can immediately get real-time camera feeds from the private sector, the public sector, and the new cameras that we're going to install, and be able to communicate and really, really hopefully make it even safer than it is already. The final project I wanted to just touch on briefly, the Capitol line we just announced 2-3 months ago. Jeff Edwards is a private developer in town. He's on our board. He's a huge champion of downtown, just built a house downtown, lives downtown, owns restaurants downtown. And we took a few trips, and one of those trips was to Indianapolis. And if you're familiar with the Cultural Trail, if you're familiar with the High Line in New York or the Beltline in Atlanta, it's an intentional 2-mile trail that will loop, and it will actually come right behind where we are and go back up and around. And the idea is to have bikes and pedestrian friendly and really connect a lot of the assets. You have the peninsula, you have the fountain, you have Columbus Commons. We have a lot of cool things, the Arena District, but you really don't, when you come down, you don't go from one to the other. So this is our hope to kind of make that intentional, to make it feel like downtown's connected. A lot of big cities you go to, you can walk for 2-3 hours and feel like you're just continually walking. Here it feels more interrupted, and so we're really trying to fill that in with the residents, with the workers, and with this Capitol line. And these are just some renderings of what it would look like, and I apologize, I can't see it. So that's the route. We are right here. And then this is a little bit of what it could look like. The other thing is these cities have to keep walking down the driveway. So we say that if you own property, and a lot of this property is under development at this point, it's kind of like beachfront property. Once this thing goes in, it's like a bus line. You're just going to generate traffic and return people. So very excited about that. Just some renderings of Gay Street today and what it could look like. You can see it's just a totally different feel. Existing conditions and walkable. And at times we'll be able to close streets. We'll be able to take some of the off-street parts. We'll be able to close some of the streets and have festivals and do things and just get it more active. Gay Street, as I said, Jeff Edwards owns a lot of properties there. We have a lot of investments there from the city, and so it's just a natural place, and we have a large concentration of people that already live there. And that's really it. So those are the 3 things I wanted to highlight. I'm going quickly, so I apologize, but want to get everybody over to see the Junto and the rooftop, and be happy to show you all of the things that we have going and what we've done to date. So thank you very much for the time, and welcome to Columbus. Yes, thank you. Oh, sorry, I don't want to take that.
I think, with any downtown area, intentional investment, it makes the difference in activating what you're seeing happen here today. And I think one of the things that they didn't mention was this river behind us previously, about a decade ago, had a wall all the way up to the street. It was more along the lines of sewage water, it seemed like, because of the Lowhead dams and others that subsequently have been removed. And we've activated a park over here that really was the catalyst to what you're seeing behind us. And I just thought it would be important to point out when we were putting this together that these were gravel lots right before COVID. In fact, many of us that helped put this through economic development wise, were kind of shocked when we came back downtown and saw the buildings that had popped up, and now they are a cultural center for the community in a new neighborhood that also provides affordability for our residents to be able to live down here as well. We're intentional and committed to providing housing affordability in every single neighborhood in this community. So wherever the project is, we're making sure that people that work here, raise a family here, can live in any neighborhood within this community. So it's been hopefully enlightening a little bit, and certainly we want to continue on with the festivities. And I want to ask Robert to come up and the team as we present a resolution celebrating National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month, and of course the tour. So it's our honor to recognize the National League of Cities on behalf of Columbus City Council, my colleagues, present this resolution to you. So
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if we want to get it. We'll let them get a couple pictures.
Can you see it? Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Well, we want to trade presentations with you. My name is Robert Blaine, as was said before. I've actually been coming to Columbus since the mid-90s. I did my undergrad at Indiana University in Bloomington, and my sister did her undergrad at Oberlin College. And it's not exactly, Columbus is not exactly in the middle between Bloomington and Oberlin, but I had a girlfriend that lived in Columbus. So I used to kind of make a little detour around. And I tell you, the amount of change that I have seen in Columbus from the mid-90s to today is just transformational. It's just a different place. But the one thing that I think is the most consistent is the sense of pride there is, and the real community pride that there is in Columbus. And it is truly a beautiful place to live and work, and it's just a testament to the work that has happened across so many administrations, and we can see the progress that's here in our community. We wanted to present you with a little token of our appreciation. This is a poster. It's actually an art piece that was done representing images of towns and villages from all across the country, really speaking to what NLC does and really speaking to the way that we try and bring community together of city leaders from all across the country. I represent the work that we do around technical assistance and how we work with communities. Irma, of course, leads our federal advocacy and how we advocate for cities all across the country. And it is our goal that we create the kind of synergies, the kind of uplift that happens when you bring strong leaders together, and that they share ideas, and that we can bring a perspective that hopefully creates common uplift amongst communities. So we are so thankful to be here. Columbus is actually, we were counting it today, the 50th tour. So you are exactly in the middle, which I think is the right place. It's exactly in the center of the tour, and it really speaks to the wonderful things that are happening here. So I'll let my colleague Irma say a couple of words as we close.
Yes, thank you all, first of all, for welcoming us into your beautiful community, your city, that you have been very intentional over decades now to not just make it inclusive, but really ensure that from an economic perspective, everybody has an opportunity to thrive and prosper. And I will tell you, not just Columbus, but the Ohio fighting spirit to rebuild and to be a partner with the National League of Cities has been incredibly valuable. And I hope that you all, just in viewing the presentations and seeing the growth and development in your history, you take this moment to just really pat yourselves on the back, because we would not be here as an association without your partnership, Kent, with the Ohio Municipal League of Cities. During the pandemic, we are not only we made it, we are standing, and we are thriving. And it is because we truly work together to find real solutions to work for everybody. And because of that, we were able to secure direct emergency relief during the pandemic for every municipality, regardless of size, in the state of Ohio and across the country. And it is because of Ohio's partnership with the National League of Cities that we've been successful. We now see significant infrastructure funding, but we know that you all plan to do this in absence of what the federal government planned and knew what was eventually would come, and we all prayed for. Well, the day is here, and I know that you all are leveraging the opportunity that the federal investments through the Infrastructure Act and the Inflation Reduction Act are going to continue to do. And just know that we will continue to be a partner with you every step of the way to continue to create an economically thriving community that is going to benefit this nation as a whole. So thank you, council member. Thank you to the council and to the mayor and all of our NLC leaders for being part of this wonderful day and making this the best 50th stop on our national road tour. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert and Irma. I just want to thank you, and I see we stopped the rain. We'll be able to walk over and enjoy a reception and looking out over the city, some of the things that we discussed here today. I would like to take the moment to thank my team, Avery Townsend, Kaylin Pittman, my new intern from North Carolina, AT&T, Maya, for being here as well. And certainly our CTV team who has live streamed this today and will be available for rebroadcast as well. And Sterling Carter for his work with his team as we document what happened today. So thank you to all the speakers. Thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you across the street. Have a great afternoon.